It's like the show's so positive. Why are they such dickheads to each other?
We're able to get it all out in a safe environment.
This is what real mental health looks like.
Yeah. Fucking with the people you love.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Y'all ready for this?
Walking Blind is hosted by overly emotional dudes who overthink and overanalyze everything. Nothing the hosts say should be taken as medical advice or opinion. They're not professionals, and they're about to make that very clear. So just kick back and hang with them, because you've earned it.
It's all right. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Walking Blind podcast. I'm Mike, and this is also Mike, and then this is kind of a big episode, right?
Yeah.
45?
45.
This is 45. 45 episodes in. We've been doing this. We're in debt. We've been doing this for quite some time now, and guess what? We still love doing it. Kinda. Depends.
We do. Yeah, that's good. I feel like we're getting better at whatever it is we're doing.
It's sometimes I think that, and then we have moments like this where I'm like, hey, we're not good at this at all.
No, we had a breakthrough yesterday.
We did.
The game. It was something that was gonna happen anyway, show wise, but we were able to.
We were able to finally work it all out so that this whole system and setup works. But anyways, let's talk about this. Episode 45. It is the week before. Not even. It's the week of the Pacific Northwest shows. By the time this comes out, actually, I should stick to the schedule. So by the time this comes out, we're gonna be getting ready to get on stage tonight in Spokane, because this will come out Friday morning. So we will be getting ready to hit the stage and get back on track, if you will. I'm trying to look directly into the camera, look directly into the eyes of the viewers, because I was told, hey, Mike, you look down a lot and you should look directly into the eyes. So I'm going to stay right here the whole episode. I'm going to be in pocket. I'm going to look right at you and I'm going to say, what's going on with your mental health, homie? So let's do a mental health check.
All right. I too will look straight into the camera.
I just look scared.
Mental health check. It's good. It's good. Everything, all good stresses coming up, pretty much since this weekend.
Yeah.
All stuff to do.
Yeah.
We'll get into our weekend stuff, after this, but, mentally I'm good, man. Exercising for me has been light, it's such a game changer. Even with my diet not being nearly what it should be, when I step back, I'm giving myself a little more grace because my diet is way better than what it was before. Just based on my sugar intake and stuff, and I feel like a lot of my cheats have been like good ones, like
worth it type cheats.
Like Saturday, for instance, that was
Saturday was good.
I don't even know. Good. I should have just finished my freaking burger. See how many Mike saved half of his, and I was like way more than halfway done with my second half.
For what it's worth, I didn't save half of mine. I just saved like the top layer of half of one. So there's like a little bit of beef rib, a little bit of like brisket or whatever else was on that burger, and I left it in the car. It's still in the fucking car.
Ooh.
So yeah, I realized it today, and I was like, oh, it's still back there.
I don't know why. We're good enough friends that I should just fucking smash that thing.
Yeah.
I totally could have.
Yeah.
But anyway, aside from like diet things, mentally I've been good. It's I've been doing all the things that bring me joy, that are good coping mechanisms for myself. Music is one, so I've had an abundance of it.
Yeah.
It's like, especially this last weekend, I've been able to do a ton of music, and it's awesome. Being able to I kind of forget how therapeutic it is to, as much as I fucking hate screaming, how therapeutic it is. And so the last, I don't know, week or so, every night I'm doing the set. And so it's exhausting, but when I'm done, I feel good. Yeah. I think I'm sleeping better because of it. And then I stuck to my jump rope. Still should be way better than what I am, but it is what it is. Yeah, that's where I'm at, man. I'm good. I feel like I'm good, and I'm excited for this week.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a super. I feel like this week is just gonna be good in general. I mean, not to mention we have your birthday coming up in a couple days. Now you guys will be on a flight for your birthday, and you guys will be heading up there. I will not be heading up until super early Thursday morning. And I was hoping that your birthday gift would get here before the podcast so I could give it to you on the show, but I'm probably not going to give it to you until we get up there. I'll bring it with me.
The gift of friendship.
Yeah.
You already gave it to me.
It's the gift of love.
Don't shake your head, Jesse.
So mental health check for me. Everything's actually been really good. It's just been super busy. I feel like I haven't had time to like just chill and relax. Like even on the days where I'm just gonna chill today. Like I'm doing like a ton of stuff. Like while the boys in NVR get to fly up and half their band is already there. The Torch Culture crew has to drive 20 hours. So I had to get the Feels on Wheels, make sure everything was good and in order. Figured out how to work the TV in the back.
Nice.
Got the TV up and running. And I ordered a Chromecast so that whoever is chilling in the back can just throw up videos on their phone and stuff like that and watch it on the TV.
Oh, cool.
Because it has like its own independent, area. And then I talked to Raul. Raul's going to come through with some agua. And then apparently when we're up there, he's got some boys that are going to come through with some agua as well.
Dude, we're going to have a Liquid Death stage water.
Yeah, shout out to Liquid Death. That should be fun. And then, other than that, like I just, so I went down a rabbit hole. I was cleaning out the computer in the office, and I found like a Creative Void demo, right? Like an old Creative Void demo that was never released. And so just for shits and giggles, after this run, I'm gonna write to it and like put some vocals to it because it's the music and everything. And Steve, I was talking to Steve because Steve plays in Torture Culture now, and he was like, "Dude, just do it, dog. Like, just put it together. We'll send it to Chris and Jake." I was like, "Okay, cool, yeah, we'll see what's up." So
it's fucking good.
It's a little banger, right?
It's a banger, yeah. We played it, and I guess I don't know. I kind of just it's been a long time since I've sat down listened to Creative Void.
Yeah,
I love how just Chris it is.
Dude,
Chris riffs all over the place.
It's such a Chris riff heavy song.
But it's cool, man. Like,
dude, so to end up mental health check, I'm excited for these shows. I'm still a little nervous about being the one hardcore band, but it'll be fine. It'll be fun.
Dude, you guys, it's not like I feel like people are gonna probably go off for you guys more.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But dude, all right. So I brought this to the table. I got a couple things that I wanted to read that I brought to the table. Speaking of Creative Void, I was looking for like old live pictures because I was gonna do like a collage type thing, and then what I found was an Amazon review of Heart Remains. And I need to read this to you because this is the top review from the United States.
Ooh, okay.
And this review is a roller coaster ride, and I'm gonna read it to you word for word, and you're gonna see why. This is amazing. I read this to Karima in the Taco Bell drive-thru, and she was like, she just had this look of like shock on her face.
When was this made?
This review was made February 24th, 2010. I had never seen it until now.
Wait, did you say Amazon?
Amazon.
I didn't even know there's reviews on Amazon.
Yeah, because the records are like sold like digitally.
Oh, it's scary. I wonder. I'm sure.
We should look. But okay, so listen to this roller coaster ride. Okay. Reviewed February 24th, 2010. Riverside, California's Creative Void are about to release their new album, Heart Remains, on Pure Noise Records. With 10 tracks totaling up to just under 30 minutes, is this an album that will create new fans for the band, or one that you should avoid entirely? Nice wordplay there, author. The first two songs on the album, titled Tyranny and Gotham, are fist-pumping, foot-stomping, slap-yo-mama-jama hardcore at its finest.
Gosh.
From the quick tribal drum intro that leads you directly into big breakdowns and bouncy guitars in Tyranny, to the ultimate hardcore drumming, bass-thumping, old-school picking-up change style in Gotham. Creative Void's sound is firmly rooted in hardcore, but bathed in metalcore tendencies and beat-down style. Both tracks employ gang vocals, which are a hardcore must, as well as absolutely nasty grooves that add much-needed change-ups in the songs. Vocalist Mike Alsaybar does a great job of carrying the load for the band. His beastly growls and shouts are mean and well done in all aspects. Thank you. Rat Race and The Author are definite standout tracks that should garner much attention. The meaty guitars and deafening bass are followed by blasting drums and Alsaybar's disgusting vocals. The band adds some cool melodic overtones throughout both songs that complements them tremendously. These two tracks alone add some serious metalcore muscle to the album, that's for sure. If you're looking for a more old school meets new school feel, then Unfamiliar Faces and Finding Clarity are just for you. The ultra hardcore style drumming brings back memories of when Sick of It All, Madball, and Agnostic Front were regulars in the tape deck, while the thin guitars are fast and loaded with rich melodies that might even get your granny diving off of the couch. Now, I know that gang vocals are a staple of hardcore bands, but I feel that they are used a little too much throughout the entirety of the record. Or entirety of the disc, sorry. There are a couple drawbacks to the album as a whole, though. The first of which being that there is little to no deviation from song to song. Casual fans of the style may find that without any real significant changes from one track to another, the whole album tends to blend together and feel like a blur. Secondly, it's really hard to separate this band from the masses of others that carry the same torch that they do, creating that been there, done that feeling. Frankly, Creative Void are a really good band that certainly have a very promising future ahead of them. But in the words of the avant-garde idiot savant Jay Pensinger, I like it, but I don't love it. 3.5 stars. It was a roller coaster ride. I was like, oh, dude, this is sick. Somebody loved this record. And then he just shits on it at the end. Yeah, everybody's done this before.
That's like the scene kid with the English major, like
the scene kid that went to college.
Yeah, I mean, definitely still in college, but
I thought it was interesting because I'd never seen this before. I'd never seen this review. Never came across my radar, and I was like, Amazon?
What would 10,000? What would 2010 Mike have thought of this review?
I think 2010 Mike would have been just stoked with the first half and then completely ignored the rest of it.
Awesome. That's it.
Yeah. 2022 Mike is like, fuck yeah. There's some balance here.
Mm-hmm. I like how it's like peppered with like compliments and then like little jabs the entire time.
Yeah, there's like
it was thin guitars.
Yeah, thin guitars or like yeah, hardcore or gang vocals are a must, but they did a little too much on this record. I thought it was interesting.
Well, at least he heard it.
Yeah, at least he listened to the record. I'm down for that.
Who was it?
I have no idea.
Watch it be like some like big.
I have no idea. It's just some random dude.
Dang. Well, I'm gonna definitely go on Amazon and look.
Should we look for no bragging rights reviews on Amazon? Jesse's already on the case, dude. So I have a story for you. I'm sorry, I'm like firing at all cylinders right now, but
fire away.
So last night I was in Target, right? Mm-hmm. And hold on, let me make sure I get their name right.
Oh, this is what you sent me.
Actually, you know what? No, I shouldn't name the name of the church because apparently they're notorious for taking you down.
Yeah.
But I will say this. So I was walking through Target last night, little family outing to Target. And so I'm walking and there's just these random dudes dressed up in Target that were stopping people in the store. Like, can I talk to you about God? And I was like, that's weird.
Dressed up like suits? Dressed up like...
Suits.
Oh, okay.
Not full suits, but like, dress pants, nice. Dress shirts, like so one dude had a tie, things like that. And so I was seeing them kind of like stopping people in in like the aisles and stuff, and I was just like kind of avoiding it like the plague. Because here's the thing. I'm religious. I grew up religious. I respect religion, you know, and beliefs and faith and things like that. But at the same time, what I don't like is people pushing their beliefs on you.
Right.
It's one thing if somebody's receptive to talking about it. It's another if you're like, hey man, I'm good, and then they keep going. So that being said, you could tell these dudes were just pulling people out of like dude's shopping with his wife, and he's like putting his cell phone in his face, showing him scripture. And so I'm like, yo, dog, that's a little aggressive, right?
I don't think that shit ever works.
It doesn't work. It just turns people off. So so we kind of like avoided a lot of people, and then so we go to check out. We pay for our bill, way more than we came to spend, as you do at Target. And then so we're going out, and we're about to go get in the car, and I'm taking Elliot out of the shopping cart, and this guy's like, hey man. And I was like, hey, what's up, dude? He's like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? I want to, you talked about some scripture. And I go, hey man, no, I'm cool right now. I appreciate it though. And he's like, nah, man, this will just take a second. I go, no, dude, it's cool. I'm good. And he's like, listen, I just want to talk to you about God. I go, hey, I get it. I was like, hey, I'm religious. You know, I like my grandfather's a pastor. You know, it's like I get it, but I gotta take off right now. I'm good, right? And I'm holding the kid in my arms, and he's like, nah, man. Well, I bet you your grandfather never talked to you about God the Mother, and that's what you need to know about. And I was like, hey man, I'm good. I'm really good. You know, and he's like, no, this will just take a couple seconds. I go, yo, dude, I'm good. Like, you know, I'm trying to be polite. And I'm like, you know, it's cool, man. Don't worry. He's like, why don't you just take a few seconds? I go, dog, I'm good. And then at this point, Elliot's like, no. And he puts his hand up and goes like this. He's like, no. And the guy was like, all right, man, you know, I'm just saying, you know, like you could use the word of God. I go, you're not even talking about God. And he was like, just like turned around and walked away. And I was like, yo, real talk. Like, I told you, like, hey man, like trying to be polite like 4, 5, 6 times, and you're still being aggressive about this. And then you turn to like being angry.
Yeah. So
then like the fact that like he starts to get angry about it, I'm like, something's off with that, right? Like that doesn't feel right.
It's not the spirit,
dude. So I went on like a little rabbit hole, and I Googled like God the Mother, and there's this whole religion that is talking about God the Mother, and like the basic idea being that like if there's a father, there has to be a mother, right? And that brought me down this whole rabbit hole of like comments talking about, now these are not my words, comments talking about like, I was with them for 8 years and it's a cult and like all this other stuff. And I was like, what the? So I sent you the video today, and I'm kind of curious, like outside perspective, just watching the video that I sent you, what you kind of think about this whole thing. Cause it was kind of wild.
So, I mean, I've heard about that religion. It's crazy. I didn't realize how gnarly they were about taking stuff down.
Yeah.
Like which, you know, in a way, is smart on their part. That's why they can still have their stuff up, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, personally for myself, like just the little things that I've looked up and I've heard, I didn't know it was about them. I don't even know if it's the same religion, these discussions that I've had. Just different things about like what people interpret as the mother. What's that? Oh, bring it down. Me?
Yeah. Oh. There you go, Michael.
And so, yeah, so I don't know if it's like the same, like religion or denomination, whatever that they're like, but, I've definitely heard that. I mean, I can see why you could read certain scriptures and kind of get that.
Yeah, it's up to interpretation.
Yeah. I mean, I personally don't see it that way. I've never interpreted it that way. And even trying to read, so once you sent me what you sent me, I did my own little thing. And I had a hard time finding things that I completely was like, oh, like that makes sense. I had a lot of things where I was just like, oh, I can see why that makes sense for them.
Yeah, but I can see how they would formulate that train of thought.
Yeah, but for me personally, I also saw like why I feel like they're missing it.
Yeah,
you know. So I don't know. It's crazy. I didn't realize. For one, I I don't think I've ever met anyone in person like that.
Yeah.
You know, anyone I meet that has anything to do with like talking about like the mother, it's usually about like Mother Nature and like
Yeah.
that stuff I've definitely heard a good amount of. But yeah, I never heard about this group and how aggressive they are.
Yeah, I was like, yo, man, like you're trying to spread a message of like, you know, creation and faith and things like that, and here we are, like, you know, you're getting angry at me because I don't want to take time to talk to you. Like, that's kind of...
Yeah, it's so. I don't want to go into. I don't want to get. We can. This could be a whole episode, but it's just it's always been so odd to me. Any faith-based group, any group tied to Christianity, that talks about like Jesus Christ as being at the center.
Yeah.
Like, and then how they just attack you.
Yeah.
And how they are so like, because then it's not about, it's no longer about love anymore. It's like about like, let me tell you why I'm right.
Yeah.
You know,
it's why you should believe what I believe.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, like name calling, you know, for anything in life, isn't it? I don't know when that's ever worked, where you like belittle someone into just finally being like, oh, let me hear what you have to say with an open heart. It's like,
yeah,
you've just shit all over me.
Yeah.
You've called me all these things. You tell me that I'm going to hell. You tell me all these things. Like, you know, I feel like there's ways to do it. And when I see churches or I just see people or individuals who are just so like holding a sign, like, you know, the signs,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that shit. I'm just like, I don't see Christ in that. I don't see Christ in that person. I feel like they've completely missed the point. And so, like, it's almost like a psyop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when I see that shit, it's almost like a psyop.
Yeah.
It's almost like if I wanted to like destroy someone's name, to like act like I was about them, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you imagine like if I just walked around like Torture Culture t-shirts and just was like a total shithead to people and like like talked about how like your music inspired me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like being a total dickhead to people.
And then all of a sudden people just hate the fucking band just because of how you are.
Yeah. And when you find that, you're like, wait, what the fuck? Why are you saying
Yeah.
I don't think that. I didn't say that. And so I don't know. So yeah, whenever like that's such a I feel like a very easy sign for me, because I've had those moments too when people will approach me, and you know, I like to think I'm a pretty passive person.
Yeah.
But I've had to like raise my voice to people, tell them like, hey, like I'm busy right now, like I'm doing something, like,
yeah, or
not the time and place for this right. discussion.
Right.
You know, like
I think it's just the like the complete like disrespect of boundaries.
Yeah.
That really kind of like pushes me over the top, where I'm like, yo, dude, like if Elliot hadn't started, like, I mean, this is a 3-year-old just basically like out of nowhere that's like, no, that way, no. Like at that point in time, like if he hadn't done that, it just made me laugh. I'd have been like, yo, dog, like, like, chill out, man, like relax. But I thought it was just kind of like a super interesting experience. And then like I didn't think anything of it until like later on today, when I was just, somebody said something about mothers, and I was like, oh yeah, that dude was talking about like God the Mother, and then I was like, I want to know what this church is, and then it just was like, fucking all this information comes out. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah,
it's interesting. It's funny so for anyone, if anyone's been following our podcast long enough, I like to read about different things and conspiracies or rabbit holes, if you will.
Yeah.
And for myself, something that I try to do is when I'm looking up for something, I don't want to look for the conspiracy in it.
Right.
I want to read about it. I want to see what they have about it.
Facts.
I want to see what they say, you know, that kind of stuff. For this one, it's funny, like stuff I'd find, I'm like, man, I feel like there should be more of this. And then when you're, you know, going into what that video you sent me about the guy saying how they just delete shit, I'm like, this makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Control your narrative.
Yeah. It's like Scientology does that stuff, and
yeah,
but you know, whatever. In Xenu we trust, right?
Oh man,
Do you remember? I don't know if you remember when Jake was saying that shit.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know our buddy Jake, to put it lightly, he's not a religious person
At all.
at all.
At all. Yeah.
And so when he started to like hear about Scientology and stuff, he would just like anytime anything good would happen, he would be like, dude, in Dinu, in Dinu we give thanks or something like that. He would say like, he would always, oh, it was so funny. Anyway, but yeah, so that's fun, man. Well, I'm glad that that's happening at Target.
So yeah, that's happening at Target.
That's where you're
But
choosing to save lives.
But I will say this. So we did have a message, and kind of tying with that, and not necessarily religion, but just like your attitude towards people in general. So we're catching up on like emails and messages from the previous episodes, and this question came through like right after the episode with Brian, and Steph reached out and said the part where you guys were talking about love thy neighbor helps me feel not alone of my thoughts towards my older sister. Just wanted to say thank you for the reminder, I needed this weekend. Keep it up, guys. So
Nice.
see what being positive and being nice to people, gets you.
It's so much. I don't know. Actually, I wouldn't say it's easier, but I mean, there's cases where it's not.
Yeah.
Where it's not easy to love your neighbor, or fuck with your neighbor. Jesse. That's cool. I don't want to tell his story for him, but I will say, and I guess I won't use his name, even though I doubt he'll care. But one of our friends in the last couple weeks has realized that he's basically been holding either judgments or resentments for certain people, kind of for no reason. Some of them he had reason, and so in the last week or two he's gone and either forgiven them or asked for forgiveness.
Really?
So he literally made a list.
Someone in our crew?
Someone we know. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
nobody's come to me and asked for forgiveness. I'm just saying.
yeah, he's still going. So.
He's gonna ask me to apologize to him. I don't even know who we're talking
Jesse,
about.
would you like to read the statement you wrote? Okay.
Yeah. He just rolls out a scroll.
Yeah. But
Mike, I didn't like the time when you
Call me fat.
I didn't like the time when you talked about this. I've never called you fat, Jesse.
yeah.
The words fat have never come out of my mouth.
Oh, gordito.
I've never said gordito either. But I prefer that terminology to fat.
My one of my cousins was affectionately nicknamed Gordo,
Of course.
and I remember he was in high school, and one of my aunts said something like, "Oh, blah blah, good to see you, Gordo," and he's like, "Thanks, dear. I love it when you call me that." And when it just how he said that was the first time ever in my life where I was like,
Oh.
"That's interesting. He doesn't like that." I can see how that could bother him.
I can get why he wouldn't like that nickname.
Yeah. But so our friend, it's interesting hearing him talk about it because certain people, everyone took it a little bit differently. One of the people kind of took it poorly and basically said, "I don't accept your apology."
Really?
Yeah, and basically told him to go fuck himself. And so, but for him, it's kind of for him. He's like, "Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you feel that way. Like,
Yeah.
I felt moved to do this," and he went through, and I feel like I can kind of almost sense like a weight off his shoulders, and I almost feel like he's kind of he's had other things going on in his life, and I think this is going to be helpful for him because I don't think anyone listening to this now. I know this might come across as corny, but like I don't know. If you like sit back in your life, is there anyone that you right now, if you think about, like makes you upset?
Jesse's nodding his head and looking at me on the camera.
It's like, but and
Jesse, we're gonna make love later.
and there's some stuff going on there that I don't
Hold my hand.
know how I feel about.
Hold my hand.
But yeah, so make that an exercise. You know, right now, think: is there anyone in your life, whether you know them well or not, someone in your family, close or not, is there someone that you think when you think about, and it just either makes you upset or makes you feel a certain way? Like, imagine that, hold on to that, and then thinking about what your life would feel like if you were to absolve that, if you were to just let that go. You know.
Do you have anybody in your life that you like, that you have a genuine like I need to resolve things with somebody? I don't think I really do.
I don't know if I do.
Johnny Depp.
I think if I don't know. If anything, it's like I feel resolved on my end.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I don't know if how they feel, and I feel weird to be like, hey, like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Are you?
Hey man, are you still mad at me for what happened in '94?
Yeah. Even now, and like, this is gonna be ambiguous. Obviously, you know what it is, but like, there are people that have come out of my left my life or whatever. I'm not upset at them. Like, I don't care at all.
Yeah.
Like, that's not for me. Like, they, you know, I can make peace. I feel like I can make peace with almost anyone.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Like, for me, I don't really feel that. But I think if I step back, and I feel like there's a lot of people that I can always feel like I could always be like, hey, I'm sorry if I'm not better for, you know.
I think that there's definitely you know, I mean I'm a shit talker, especially with the people that I'm like close to, you know. That guy knows. He knows firsthand. But like at the same time, like I think that like with Andrew, and I think he would be willing to vouch for this and say it, like there have been times where like maybe I've gone a little too hard on him, and then he's been like, damn, and I'm like, all right, my bad. And I'll genuinely apologize, and I'll be like, yo, dude, if like I'm sorry if I offended you, you know. So like I'm trying to think like of scenarios or situations where like I genuinely think that a lot of people who are no longer in my life, it's for a reason, right? And I don't mean that to be like, you know, oh, they can't handle me or you can't, you know. I think it just like it's been the reason why I've lost touch with people or I've kind of disconnected with people is like just because the role that we played in each other's lives are no longer, it's no longer a necessity or needed, you know. You know, I have some close friends that I've been friends with since, you know, we were kids. And then I also have some people that I've known for a very short period of time who I still consider like family, you know. But it's just one of those like, you know, if I think back, I can't think of anybody like off the top of my head where I would say like, I need to reach out to this person and make amends, because I'm that person that like will like hang on to people until like the literally like I can't anymore, right? And then even at that point, like if they were to come back, I'd be like, well, okay, you know. So yeah, I don't know. That's it's for this person who's going through this. Like, it's definitely cool that like, you know, they've come to that like kind of mindset and state of mind where they're you know, willing to work through that and willing to talk through that. Like that's huge. And it's especially huge to like come to that understanding, not only for the people that you're talking to, but also for yourself. Like, yeah, I'm working this out. You know, I'm working with my demons and fighting, you know. So.
Yeah, it's I thought it was, you know, thinking about it now, if we get him on the podcast, and at some point he'll get on the podcast, and I think it'd be cool to have him talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
But, man, what else? What else we got?
We got a little bit of some questions in the mailbag.
Let's do it.
So we got our buddy Chris that sent in a bunch of questions. The homie Chris Ballard. Here's a question: with the podcast running on all cylinders, have you ever thought about having a reach out email or number for people that need to talk that they could call in on? Well, we have walkingblindpod@gmail.com, but nobody likes to use that.
I was going to say, I was like, we do have an email.
We don't necessarily have a number. I don't know how it would work to monitor that all the time.
You know something that'd be kind of cool. I guess this is where that thing. Fuck. Where you can go and post things, not Reddit, although I mean I'm sure you could do a Reddit thing, where you can have a community, and they can post and they can communicate through that.
Are you talking about a Discord?
Discord. That's what that's.
I legit thought it was a Facebook group.
You know what? For Mike, it would be a Facebook group.
Dude, I haven't used Facebook in forever.
We could set up a Discord. Maybe you know, I have some time on the road this weekend. Maybe I'll pursue that if people are interested in that.
Dude,
And get that all set up.
do it, and then I'll finally learn what it is. I'll go on YouTube, and I will understand it.
So this is kind of funny because of what just happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
But Chris also asked, do you ever find yourselves drawing a blank during a podcast and not sure what else to say or do? Yes.
Yeah, blanks all the time.
Blanks all the time.
You'll just whatever. I feel like everyone.
We're just shooting blanks left and right. Wait, what?
What?
With all of us growing up in the punk rock scene, do you feel the struggle was harder 15 years ago than it is in today's industry?
As in, like, trying to like do music or just living life?
I think he's just talking about strictly music.
Do I think it's harder now?
Do you think it was harder like 15 years ago for us, or like it is now, to like basically, I'm assuming, to like make a name for yourself in music?
Well, it was harder then because we didn't know what the fuck you're doing.
And we also didn't have access to like all the social medias and the promo stuff. Like it was literally us burning
Hundreds
racks
CDs.
of like burned CDs and just passing out demos and stuff.
The art of flyering at other people's shows.
I think the grind was different, but you still need to grind today, right? Because the grind was different back then because you had to manually seek out people. Like you couldn't like search for a demographic of people that like hardcore and then just flood, their feed. Like you would have to, like we would have to go legit to bands that we were influenced by or wanted to play with, things like that, and then flyer those shows or give out demos of those shows, things like that. Like get in cool with promoters and shit, just to be offered a 250 pre-sale show.
Yeah.
So like I think that I wouldn't say that it was harder back then. I just think we had access to less. And I think that today, while you do see like all the stories about like people going viral on TikTok and stuff like that, that lasts for 2 seconds and then it's gone, right? Versus, like you still have to grind, you still have to push content out, you still have to push music out. And I was watching a video where like there was a Paramount Records or Capitol Records, I don't know which one, but he was an A&R, modern day A&R guy, and he was saying still talent and musicianship still rules all. Like it doesn't matter how many numbers you're doing on TikTok, it doesn't really matter how many numbers you're doing, because like they know that this comes and goes and it comes and fades. Like independent artists can make a killing if one of their songs goes viral, but if you want that record deal, you want somebody to back you and like pay for your record and give you promo and push you and stuff like that, you still need to have the talent to do it. And like this dude was like, like at the end of the day, like for me, it's gotten to a point where so much music is released, there's so much content out there, but still for me, like I don't care if you have less than 100 plays, if what you did and what you're singing or what you're performing like speaks to me, we're more likely to talk than if you just have 1 million views. And I was like, well, it's kind of cool that at least somebody says that that's the case. But
they say that, but I wonder what their bosses say.
Yeah. Sign that kid from TikTok.
Everyone answers to someone.
Well, there's all these crazy videos about these kids who like will do like a freestyle on like an old rap beat or something like that, right? That freestyle goes viral on TikTok, and then they have to fight to get the sample cleared so they can make that an actual track and release it and make money off of it. Damn. So for some of these kids, it's taking like a year or more to get the clearance for that sample so that they can use it to make a song out of something that they just got hyped up for 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Dang.
You know? And then it's the same thing like with the we kind of talked about this, the BB Rexa and who's that, David Guetta, who did the Blue remix or whatever it is. Yeah. So that was like a little, like they legit just recorded that little part that I'ma have the best fucking night of my life, right? And then he played it during a live concert, and that was the only place it went. They didn't do a full song. It was just this live concert. And then somebody on TikTok, a TikTok streamer, found that clip and just played that clip from the live show and was like dancing to it. And then it fucking blew up. So they went back in the studio and recorded the full song and released it. But like shit like that, where it's like, oh, this is already my content, let's put it out, versus a kid that gets that sample freestyles over it. Now you have to get clearance to use all that. And how long is that going to fucking take? Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would say it's easier now because of resources. But it's also different. Like, you know, it's one of those sort of like easier said than done things where it's like, you know, I'm in three bands.
Yeah.
Technically.
Mind you, you see Mike not wanting to move too much because he's got his jacket on. So he's not trying to make noise, but he's like slowly adjusting himself.
Which.
Casual Mike and full of that.
What?
He's Martin when he was in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, you're saying you're in three bands.
This was a Target purchase, which I'm very proud of. You know, and it's one of those things where, knowing what I know now, I know what it would take to make it in music.
Yeah.
Crazy thing is, I don't necessarily want to make it music. I don't want that to be like my full-time thing.
Yeah.
You know, which it sounds, you know, like if, you know, 20-year-old me, 16-year-old me, 20-year-old me, 30-year-old me even.
If even the us from 10 years ago heard us talking this way, they'd be, what the fuck happened to you?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
what happened to you? What happened, you know?
Yeah, it's just different. Like, and I think, you know, it's because, like, I know what to do to be successful in music. I know the kind of work to put in to be at a level of like, okay, we can be on the road, we can do this and that.
Yeah.
But like to get to that top tier, or to get to that area where it's like, okay, this is what I can do and I can live comfortably, and then my next generation can live comfortably. That's where it's like an insane amount of work, and that's where you need a lot of things to go right for you. Have the right team, and that's hard to do, you know. And in the situations that I'm in right now, the bands I'm in, for the most part, they're all adults in the sense that, you know, like, yeah, we'd like to do all that stuff, but, you know,
family still takes priority.
Yeah,
work still takes priority.
Yeah, to be like, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, I think I've had this talk with like Burner State, for instance, where it's like, you know, we could, you know, tour and we can do all that stuff. We can get on these things, but it's like we would need to dedicate at least 6 months of like dedicating to be on the road, or to just doing the band thing, just doing music. And it's like no one can do that with their families.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so there's like, so anyway, all that to say is like, there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into it. And I'm not willing to sacrifice a lot of that stuff to get to that point.
Yeah. I kind of feel the same. To me, it would have to be something huge in order for me to be like, all right, I'm going to change my entire life up to do this, you know? And then I also think too, like when it comes to playing in a band, like it's a lot, let me see how I word this correctly. It's a lot easier to be a solo artist and have like hired guns as your band and things like that.
Yeah.
Versus coming into it with 4 dudes, however many, that all have to be on the same page to make this work, right? Mm-hmm. You guys all have to have that same mindset. You guys all have to be in that same, you know, mindset and the same like thought process behind. We're willing to miss big events. We're willing to miss our kids' birthdays. We're willing to miss anniversaries. We're willing to miss family parties. Like, you know, my mom just turned 75, but I couldn't be there because, you know, I have a show in Idaho. Yeah. You know, and it's like, it's not feasible for you to be able to just like cut out and be like, all right, I need to go home and do this and then come back. Like it's like a you're all in or you're all out type thing.
Which I really don't think a lot of people truly understand that until they're put into it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's even this probably not a good example. You gave such a good one, but you know, when people like talk about like, you know, like going out and stuff and like, oh, what you do, like, that sounds like it must have been so much fun. Yeah, it was fun, but it's like okay, so playing every night, awesome. Would love to do that. If I could just do that and make a living that I could be comfortable and do, I could probably do that. But it's not just that.
It's not just
40
that.
minutes that you're playing. There's also a rest of a day that goes with that. There's also where are you sleeping that night? What are you doing that night to, like, you know, you're also constantly trying to, you know, the situation we were in, you know, we had it was awesome. We had people that wanted to talk with us. They, you know, for myself personally, I was in a situation where people wanted to know about certain lyrics. They wanted to know, you know, or they wanted to share what certain lyrics meant to them and all that stuff. So that was cool. But it's like, imagine going out one night, having a great night with your friends, you know, being out way too late. And then regardless of what you did or didn't do, you're still out and you put a lot of energy. You know, I don't care who you are, if you're an introvert, outrovert, or extrovert, outrovert.
You're an outrovert.
I'm
over here
that.
nodding like you.
Yeah. If you're extrovert or introverted, you know, you're still going to be taxed at the end of the night.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're being social and you're having a good time, right? Well, it's like, I try to tell people, like, hey, how do you feel the next day? Imagine doing that the next night.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of like, I don't know, I'd probably do that if I'm like, yeah, okay. And now do it 3 nights in a row.
Yeah, 4.
Now 4. Now do it for 2 months in a row.
Yeah.
Do it 3 months in a row. Every night doing that, you know? And it's so, like, I don't think people realize, like, that's in itself is a sacrifice of your time. Because, yes, it's awesome and I love doing that, but I also have other interests and other joys that I don't get to do while I was so invested into this. And so...
And I think what's crazy is that what most people don't understand is that, like, there's a lot of bands that you guys listen to that are barely scraping by as a career band, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're it's not like guarantees are super, like, okay, to put it in perspective, I made this comment to Mike, like, our guarantee for these shows, like, it is what it is, and for us, we're more just excited to play the shows than anything else, right? Yeah. But when we talk about guarantees in a punk rock band, and I got the numbers, I was like, oh fuck, I forgot. Low key, like, it's just something that I didn't think about. Mm-hmm. Because when I was doing the Mikey Diamond stuff, like the rap stuff, show guarantees were way more.
Yeah.
And I was one guy, right? So at that point in time, you're like, guarantee is this, plus you have a bar tab, plus you have, you know, whatever. And I could, like in the Mikey Diamonds days, doing shows, I could come home and, like, legit have like a lot of money to play, not a lot, but a good chunk of money to play around with after all was said and done. Mm-hmm. Right? Versus, like, you're playing a punk rock band, you're playing a hardcore band, things like that. Unless you're, like, in that top tier, mm-hmm. or like you're that headliner and you've got that package, you know,
or you move and a lot of merchandise.
Your money is strictly going to come from your merch, mm-hmm. right? Your guarantees, you're lucky if your guarantee gets you all your travel accommodated, right? Let alone like all the dudes in your band's travel. Like for you guys, it's no longer just like, yeah, we'll pick up shows here and there, because now you have dudes in different states that have to be flown in, you know, right. Things like that. So when it really boils down to it, like the money that you make requires you to constantly be on the road, constantly be on tour, constantly slinging merch, because the reality is that you just don't, I'm not saying you don't make money. It's hard to make money that would support your lifestyle
and sustain what you're doing.
Yeah, everything that you're doing as a band. So I guess, like, in a sense, like, you know, for people that come out to shows or people that have been, you know, out and like they see you, for them it's like, holy shit, like, this is your opportunity to see a band that you've fucking listened to and you love, like, or a band that saved your life, or a band that's helped you, you know, things like that. And then you know, for somebody like you, like I don't think I've ever seen you like turn down talking to somebody, right? Like I've always seen you give somebody at least a fair chance, you know, and then whatever happens after that is just kind of up to, you know, whatever. But like people don't understand how taxing and how much that takes. And then to top it all off, it's not like at the end of that night you're gonna go sleep in a hotel and take a shower. Like you're gonna hang your sweaty clothes up in the back of the trailer or the back of the van because you're gonna wear them tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You're gonna change, and then you're gonna go either sleep in the van or you're gonna park in a Walmart parking lot somewhere and like, you know, like grab your sleeping bag, or you're gonna crash on somebody's floor that's like nice enough to be like, hey, come stay at my crib. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, going back to just another little inside baseball for some people to, you know, on this trip, something that both, you know, Torture Culture, I'm sure the other bands have something similar to this, but I would say Torture Culture, No Bragging Rights, we're both kind of like, when we play, it's very sparing.
Yeah.
Although I feel like for you guys, you're gonna be able to pick it up a little more, I think, here. We'll see. But one of the interesting questions that it's like, oh yeah, fuck. It's, you know, there is a danger in spending too much money on merchandise, and then you're stuck with it, and you're sitting on it for who knows how long till your next show is.
Yeah.
And then there's the other problem where it's like, if you don't buy enough merch, you know, hey, that's awesome. Like you sell out the first night. Okay, well then you have the next couple of shows where you don't have anything to sell, and it's just like, oh, like you're missing out.
Yeah.
Like that's another thing people don't understand, like that balance, you know. And it's one of those things where when it's happening, you're full time, you're doing it every night, you start to learn, you know, different ways to be like, okay, hey, we're getting short, let's start ordering so that we're covered on this next run. Or hey, we have a day off, we can pick up. If we order now, we'll be able to pick up at this spot, you know, like that kind of stuff. Like I don't think people realize things that touring bands deal with. Yeah. But then like a band like us, who we're not touring bands anymore, like we will maybe tour or do something, or runs, I should say. We do runs.
We'll do Weekend Warriors.
Yeah. And it's just funny to have, because when you said that, I'm not gonna lie, for myself, I was like, oh fuck, like we'll be good.
Dude,
yeah, we'll be good.
The concern is real because you know, like we have like 3 shirt designs and 2 hats that we're bringing out right on the tour or on this weekend, and like, you know, ideally, like we play and people like our shit, and then they come buy merch, and that helps us, you know, pay for gas and the Feels on Wheels. But then at the same time, it's also like, what if we end up getting in Portland and we have like a 2XL and a fucking small left, and then kids want merch, and you're like, well, we underbought for this run.
You can shrink this.
Yeah. So you know, it's just kind of like, you know, it all comes with the territory, and especially when you're a newer band, like for all intents and purposes, Torture Culture is still a new band, right? You don't know what the reaction is going to be. You don't know if people are going to fuck with you or not. Like, best case scenario, they do, but like if they don't, then you're sitting on this merch order, and you're like, okay, well, what do we do now, right? So there's just a lot of things that like, you know, we're kind of pulling the curtain back on this, but there's a lot of things to consider, especially when it comes to like, you know, now it's not, we're getting a push from, you know, a label, and you're not getting a push from, you know, like a manager or like a team.
Or we have more dates lined up after this.
Like I was trying to explain this to somebody, like had this been a different scenario, we would have played 1, maybe 2 shows on the way up to Spokane, right? We'd have like stopped like in NorCal, and then done 1 other show, and then got to Spokane. But instead we're driving 20 hours straight, you know, so it's, you know, it's definitely an interesting way to like map it out and plot it out. And then there's like a way that we can save an hour by going up one of the other freeways, like 395 or something like that. But then gas stops are very limited. So you got to like fully plan things out that way. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And to think we all did this before there was GPS in your phones.
Dude, that like
We had TomToms or MapQuest.
people don't understand, man. It was I think it was when can't remember if it was when Jason or one of those dudes quit. They took their
Chris?
I can't remember if Chris. I think when Chris quit and he let us keep. We had to pay him back, or eventually, But I think Jason we had a guitar player Jason. I think he quit. He took his, and we were like, "Fuck!" Like, if you, oh man,
Just having that brick on your dashboard, but being like, hey, we're not going to get lost.
dude. Early NBR shows, we had freaking printouts, man. We had, we had MapQuest stuff. We had, oh man, but it's all fun. A couple more curveballs coming the NBR way. We thought we were gonna have an RV, and we're not.
What happened?
Something about insurance.
Ooh.
So,
what are you guys going to do?
I don't know. Figure it out. It's another weird problem. Never really had to think about when doing shows. Like,
I mean, I'm sure we could all fit in the Fields on Wheels, right?
yeah.
at the very least, you and Martin
Yeah, I think
fit,
that's
and then
probably
the other dudes have their cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that'll probably be the plan. And so, but anyway, I'm not stressed. It's gonna be fun.
You know what? This is good. This episode's gonna come out before the shows anyway.
Let's remember that we'll come back to this.
It could have been a worse problem. You could have just had your drummer fall out a week before the shows.
That is true.
And then you have to ask Martin to pull double duty.
I know, but if you think about it, yeah.
Thank
We can
God.
talk about that, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won't go into depth as to why.
Yeah, but just
Steve had to drop off.
he had to drop off. And so Martin, and mind you, Martin with NBR, we're playing the longest set we've ever played. But he's gonna also, before our set, he's gonna play drums with Torture Culture.
Yep.
Which isn't as crazy as it sounds. Martin, for anyone who doesn't know, Martin was actually the one who recorded and helped write some of the little parts.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. He recorded on the EP that you hear. So he's familiar with the songs.
Yeah.
And honestly, he'll be fun.
He'd play him in his sleep. And it was so funny because he texted me and I was being like really, I was concerned because I was like, dude, I don't want you, like, this is a big deal for no bragging rights, right? Like, I don't want you to overexert yourself. I don't want you to fuck anything up. I don't want you to just like, I don't want to fuck up you guys' show. I was like, but this is the scenario. And so we talked, we had like a bunch of like, what about this drummer? What about this guy? This guy can probably learn the songs. And then Martin was just like, and then him and I were having our own conversation, like to the side. And he's just like, hey man, like, look, worst case scenario, I'll do it. It went from worst case scenario, I'll do it to, yeah, I'm going to do it.
I'm just going to do it, yeah.
But he's like, worst case scenario, I'll do it. And he's like, the guys are just concerned that I'm going to get burnt out. And he's like, but I have a secret. I'm always burnt out.
Martin screenshot that and put that in the NBR chat. And I was like, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
He'll be fine. But thank you, Martin. I love you.
Yeah. If anything, I mean, you guys, how long did you guys set?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. Yeah. And then he'll be able to walk out.
It's wild. And then we toyed with the idea of like, Martin, you should come out in a ski mask and play in the ski mask.
I was saying he should do a elevation mask. Because then when he takes that shit off, he'll fly, dude.
Your set will be so fast.
I know.
But yeah, so like it's just this run of shows has been so many things that we just haven't had to worry about in so long.
Yeah.
And then now that we're doing like it's only 3 days.
It's only 3 days.
It's only 3 days, and we just start like having flashbacks and PTSD about like all the shit from before.
Yeah, I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff. It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be really fun. I'm excited.
I think we've all been through so much that it's like,
yeah,
like we can do these 3 days.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fine.
Let's see.
I feel like that was off of a question, and we just went on a crazy tangent off of one of Chris's questions. Got another question for you. What's something you did in your life, young or yesterday, that you aren't proud of? And if you could, you would go back and redo your mistake.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to think of something I can actually say on this episode.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything that's kosher enough to mention.
I've been selfish in relationships.
Yeah.
I've been selfish in relationships. I've realized that.
I have something. So I remember, so being younger and like growing up, I was always the kid that, you know, like new kid in school all the time. And I remember this clearly that like I used to always get picked on, made fun of, you know, whether it was because of the Asian kid or the chubby kid, you know, whatever. And then I remember it finally got to a point where I had, I had like a solid group of friends around me. And like me, I'm like a jokester. Like I like to tell jokes, I like to, you know, just crack things left and right. And I remember, now mind you, I'm like 14. I remember this girl walking by and she was special needs. And I just remember I don't remember exactly what I said, but I remember making a comment about the way that she was walking. And the second it came out of my mouth, I knew, oh fuck, you've become all the shit that you hated before. And I remember making that comment, people laughing, you know, whatever. And I was just like, I was like so disgusted by myself. She didn't hear me, but just still, I was just like, oh, it's fucked. Like this. I've had a couple moments like that where like, you know, my brain just works faster than my, you know, or like my mouth works faster than my brain.
Before you realize
and I'm like, oh fuck. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, that I've done quite a bit.
Yeah. A lot of people still don't know how savage Mike can be. Like he is, yeah.
Dude, just, and this isn't even me being a savage as far as like being a dick. Jesse, our exchange on Game of Thrones.
Oh.
Like, I right away just fired that off. Like, I was like, well, and that was like, but that wasn't like mean. That was just me being like, well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you my opinions on this.
Yeah. How about this?
I was like, oh yeah, Brandon was the right choice. And he's like, oh yeah, well, he has to go through this. I was like, fuck. Yeah, right.
But I think, you know, going on things I can share. Like I feel like I said, I feel like I've been selfish in relationships. I feel, I think going off of what Mike says about my savageness, I think I could have handled the departure of certain band members throughout the NBR's time a little better. Because my attitude when it comes to music, the only thing in my life that I'm this way in, my attitude has always been like, well, like if you're gonna slow us down, then get the fuck out. Like that's my thing. Like I've never had a problem moving on from any band member. You know, the hardest one probably being, probably Ryan Sears.
That's
and
fucking best friend territory.
Yeah.
You know?
And even Jose, even though for Jose, I kind of, for him early on, I knew he was going to be out, just because like he was like a little bit older, get ahead of us. He was already like working and in school and doing all this other stuff, and always serious about his girlfriends and stuff. And so I kind of knew he was going to be out, although that sucked.
Williams
was hard for, that's a whole thing. Yeah, the Williams was hard just based on what was going on, and you know, I think we've been able to have a little bit of a discussion, but it was one of those things where like that was hard because that wasn't for the betterment of the band.
No,
that was in protection and in betterment of him. Yeah, and knowing what the band meant for him. Yeah, and like so that was hard because it's like it wasn't like you're you know, we need to move on because you're not what the band need. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that. It was more of like there you have things going on.
You have to step away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And And so yeah, Rick was a hard one for me too. Rick was hard. Rick's was hard for me because we both had. I remember we had a talk, and we were both like in agreement. Like we don't want to be those guys that are holding on too long. Like, and clearly like not. It's like it's time to move on. Like we don't want to be those guys. And so I remember him being like, dude, he's like, if I think it's time to go, I think I'll know. And you probably should too, kind of thing. And I remember being like, yeah, I kind of feel that too. Like, I think, yeah, if it gets to that point, I think we should probably both bow out. And then Martin would probably join too. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we all were at that point. And then when Rick was told me he was leaving, he said, hey man, this is different. Like, I think you should keep doing this. He's like, I need it. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'd like to do. And, which is cool because he actually did that. He did everything he said he was going to do. He ended up doing. But, so that was hard because it was like, you know, like I said, when it's guys that were, I could tell, like, it's almost like cutting dead weight. It's like, oh, you want to cancel because of this, or you want to put this over the band later. And I had no problem being that guy, which is funny for anyone who knows me, how passive I am with stuff like that. But with MBR, I could be the executioner.
I was like that a lot with bands before Creative Void. You know, like I was always kind of the guy that like, hey, this is not working. Like, you know, you need to go. But I still remember like kind of like how you felt with Rick or like with Ryan when Austin left. Because that's like, you know, that's like one of my best friends in the world. It's like my brother, you know. And I remember him telling me that he was leaving. And, you know, hey, he's going to move up north, you know, whatever. And so it was like, I'm not only losing like the dude that's been not just for Creative Void, like we played in Nuclear War together, like, you know, and like it's been him and I for years, like years and years and years. Like I can't, like I couldn't imagine anybody else to the left of me. Like this has always been like that. Like he was always like right here.
He was your Wilson.
Exactly. And I remember him leaving, and then we just decided with Creative Void, like, oh, we're just gonna keep it as a 4-piece. Like we're not gonna replace the Bear, you know. And so we just ran as a 4-piece. And I remember playing the Pure Noise, the 5 years showcase at the Gilman, and Austin was there, and he was in the crowd, and I legit had to fight like getting emotional. Looking into the crowd and seeing him looking back up, and he was telling me the same. He's like, it was so fucking weird to actually like look up and see you guys like on stage and not be on stage. Like there was just this, and I was like, I got upset. Like I like because I had kind of just been like, okay, cool, I get it, I get where you're leaving, but then like it all hit like way later down the line when he was standing there, and I was like, fuck, dude, this is crazy. Like this is so weird. But he's coming to the Tacoma show. Sick. Him and Alyssa are going to fly into Tacoma, hang out with us for the night, and then they're just going to head back in the morning. So, sick.
That's cool. You know what's funny? And this is like a little thing I kind of forget. As you were saying that, it hit me. Was, you know, there was a moment with Martin, when Martin was out. For anyone who doesn't know, Martin quit.
Yeah.
Martin quit right before the Census Fail.
Yeah.
And Steve, who plays in Creative Void, he was filling in for us, but it was looking like he was going to be taking over. Like,
yeah,
for us, it was more of like, if you want to do this, man, like we'd love to have you. That's where we were at, especially when Martin was out, and I believed him. I
believed him too.
I believe that Martin believed he was done, but I also felt like, man, I just feel like he's too good of a drummer. Like my thing is like he's too good of a drummer to like just stop. What's he gonna do now?
Yeah,
you know. And so
the answer to that is now he's in 8 bands.
Yeah, yeah. And so you know he quit, and I remember we were like, don't announce it, and he ended up announcing it anyway. But whatever. But like he was just like, you know, I like if it's possible like for my last shows to be the last dates of Census Field tour. And I remember that was a hard discussion for us to have because it's like, well,
Steve's playing this whole tour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're playing. You know, it was I think it was like a month and a half or something. The run, pretty good little run, you know. And so our compromise, you know, just in all fairness to like, you know, because for Martin, and I think the plan was eventually if Martin really wanted to have a farewell show, we would book our own night somewhere and do like a thing for him.
Yeah,
that's what he. You know, and Martin deserved that. I think. I don't think anyone would have a problem with doing a farewell show for Martin.
Yeah.
But on this tour, which we'd been doing every night with Steve, it just didn't seem right or fair. And so Martin came up and he did Hope Theory.
Okay.
With us, so he did Hope Theory at the Glass House, and he did Hope Theory at the observatory or the room that we played in. And
was I was there for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was there for that.
And so that was like, I remember that being hard. Like I remember telling myself like, don't think about this too hard because you'll get emotional.
I remember we were at Christians at the barbecue before that tour kicked off, and it was like me and Martin showed up together, and you know we're sitting there, and then Martin and Steve were chopping it up, and we're all like, like sitting back and like watching them, like, oh man, this is like the passing of the torch.
Yeah, and Martin was so cool about it, and that's why like I was like, I think Martin's done. He's burnt out. We were all burnt out.
Yeah,
and I think Martin was really at in his own mind. You know, I think he was done, and he was like totally cool to pass it on. I think it was cool that he was like, because he was like, dude, he's like, if anyone was gonna take over, man, Steve. Like,
yeah, and it's. Low key, sometimes I think it's kind of a bummer that Steve always comes in and like, you know, is the one to help us out and save the day. But because Steve is like, dude, Steve's just such an awesome dude. Mm-hmm. On top of that, he's an awesome drummer. Like he's a fucking machine.
But it all worked out for Steve in the end, guys.
Yeah.
Fucking plays drums for the Voodoo
Glow Skulls.
Fucking sick.
And then which was Steve. I won't say it on this show, but Steve gave us some really exciting news at practice the other day, and I told Mike, and Mike's jaw, I visibly watched Mike's jaw drop, and then he's like, shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here.
Fucking mouth.
So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah. We'll leave everybody in suspense on that. But I remember that time when Martin, you know, had quit, and then Creative Void wasn't doing anything at that time. And I just remember, like, Martin and I's relationship and friendship had always been based on like, hey, see you in 6 months, you know? And then like, now he's like, well, I'm home now. We're like, cool. Like, okay, now what? You know? But yeah, I think that there was definitely times too where like, you know, Martin would see what you guys were doing and there was a longing in his eyes.
Good.
You know, so he wasn't going to be gone for that long.
I'm glad.
But I do think that he was committed to being like, and sometimes you just have to walk away. Sometimes you need to step away to really, you know.
And he you know, we all needed a break.
Yeah.
You know, and his longing of like, oh shit, you know, I'm sure it'd be cool to be out there. I had the longing of like, man, it must be nice to just be able to like chill.
Yeah.
You know, live somewhat of a normal life, you know. but here we are.
Here we are. 2022. I'm back in a hardcore band. Didn't think I would be.
I'm in 3 bands.
Mike's in 3.
Yeah. I don't know if you have any more questions.
I got one last one.
Okay.
We're all almost 40. Sad face. Do you ever feel out of place at a show? Like everyone's asking themselves, why are these old dudes here? Yes.
Yeah, that's why. But the way I kind of deal with that is I just go to punk rock shows.
Yeah.
And then
everybody's
I'm
our
the
age
kid again.
Everyone's our age there.
Yeah, I went to Voodoo, and not only was it a fun night, but like I was getting like eyeballed by all these older punk rock women. Not gonna lie, it was nice.
Some of them had their kids with them.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the show. I feel it where I'm just like, man, I really don't want to get hit tonight.
Yeah.
Like, depending on where you're standing, like, it would really suck to get hurt tonight. But
Dude, I it's a young man's game, man. Even being on stage, I had to. Can't believe I'm admitting this. The other day, I went through my shoes, and I put a couple pairs on that I was like, "Are these going to be the stage shoes?" And I kind of jumped around in them, did some stomps, and I was like, "Definitely not these." So it's looking like it's going to be an Air Max weekend for me, but
dude,
or an Air Force Ones weekend.
you gotta get the cushy
Cushy Vans.
You can't see them. I'm wearing Vans. These are the cushy Vans. I've done a couple test runs for Burn State with these.
Mm-hmm.
I don't stomp nearly as much.
Dude, I remember at Tough Love seeing you do that one stomp, and I was like, that hurt his foot. I was like, that definitely hurt his foot.
Yeah.
It's because he went from like a stomp to like a jump, and when he landed back, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they hold pretty well. I don't know. I'm still kind of messy with it. I have it's either this or my
The new Air Maxes?
Let's see. I don't know. These are comfy, and I also have another sole that I could probably switch out. So we'll see. Such a fucking old man conversation right now.
We're talking punk rock shows and orthotics.
Yeah. Making for our feet. Our feet are good. But
What you got for us before we get out of here today?
no, my things were just more about the week. Just I was talking about how, like, for anyone, I'm sure by the time these come out or this drops, anyone sees it, they'll maybe have seen my daily videos that I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Mike walked in and started filming Jesse and I, and we're both like, the fuck are you doing?
You got me standing up, and I'm like, that's not a flattering angle.
Like, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm just trying to document the lead up to these, and I want to get yeah, I just want to kind of do like a little lead up to these shows, and I'd like to continue to do it while we're at the shows, but I'm so bad at like remembering to take my camera out and film. But we'll see. I'm hoping that maybe if I can like get consistent now, then maybe by the time we get up there,
Is this gonna lead to like a Mike Perez vlog, like a daily vlog?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think my life is that interesting yet to do that. I feel like at least there's things leading up. So yesterday I didn't get to film yesterday, but yesterday we did the Zoom with all the vocalists. Today, obviously, the podcast. So I had this to do. A couple little things that I did before coming. Tomorrow is my birthday party, even though my birthday is on Wednesday.
Which, speaking of, Jesse was like, does Mike know about his birthday? Is this a surprise thing?
I've known. It was never a surprise. I was surprised that my family had reached out to some of my friends before I did. That was the surprise.
Was it also surprising that there's a flyer?
Oh my gosh.
Have you seen it?
Nope, don't want to.
There's a flyer.
Don't want to. I love my family. I have an amazing family. My family rules.
It's a picture of you screaming.
Stop it.
But instead of you screaming, there's a popcorn bucket.
No.
Yeah, and it's like, happy birthday, Mike, movies and music.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. You know what, though? I can't.
What I came up with would be way harder than the actual flyer.
I know. I'm surprised you're like, hey, oh, Martha, I can, let me.
Hey, Martha, can I... I feel like if it had been Martha that actually sent it to me, I'd have been like, "Hey, you want me to help you out with this flyer? I can get it.
I can
make it look sick, and I can send it off to everybody." But it wasn't her that sent the message to me. It was Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well played, Martha. No, I won't go after my sister-in-law. Well played. I can share this because I don't think anyone will see it. But one of the greatest. I see it. It's not bad.
It could be worse.
Yeah, it's not bad. One of the greatest things my mom has ever done. So anyone who doesn't know, my mom, she likes to. Everything's a big deal.
Yeah.
Everything's a big deal.
Yep. She's so extra.
She's so extra.
We
If
love
we go
it.
out to eat, she'll make her own placemats and bring them to the restaurant with our pictures or something. Balloons are given for stuff or just decorations, regardless if it's her home or not.
Yeah.
She will. And one of the greatest things ever it was my brother's birthday. I don't know what birthday it was, but he was already well into being an adult. And we went to Buca de Beppo.
Ooh, Buca de Beppo.
Buca de Beppo. Good Italian restaurant. And I will never forget, dude. We get there, and the placemats are all my brother with his shirt off at the beach, running through the water. A picture that my mom had taken, I guess, randomly on one of our vacations, dude. It was Hasselhoff, dude.
Was he aware of the
He
photo?
was so embarrassed. And all his friends, like because we all got there at the same time, we all saw the table. And I think one of the best quotes, his buddy Zach was like, "This is your birthday, but yet we get a gift."
Does anybody still have one of those placemats?
You know what? I feel like my cousin Tammy, my cousin Tammy would actually be kind of funny to have on this podcast. She's wild. I think she still keeps the picture. I feel like she sends it to him on his birthday.
Oh, I need to see this.
I know. Well, I'll track it down.
Yeah.
I'll track it
I
down.
gotta see this.
I'm almost positive every now and then she'll do she'll do like a group chat and just do like remember this or like happy birthday or
That's amazing.
yeah. It's so
Got some popcorn buckets tomorrow.
dude. But
I'm sure I have a picture of Mike with his shirt off somewhere.
dude, speaking of shirt off, the best bachelor party shirt thing, which actually I probably fit into it now, is Williams, where he's like in the kiddie pool and the beer is like sitting on his belly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't forget who made those shirts. Mine was always too little snug,
a little tight.
a little tight. But anyway, so that was anyway. So yeah, so birthday's on Wednesday, and I think I work Wednesday. I'm hoping.
What time do you guys fly out?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Ontario, LAX.
I think we're flying out of Ontario.
Cool.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to message Mark right now. But yeah. So my birthday will consist of me working in the morning. I had requested. I don't know if Scott will remember. I requested that the store music for the entire, at least my shift, to just be disco.
Now you open, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what time does Daily Brew actually open?
5:30.
5:30. You want to go Daily Brew at 5:30?
Come party. Disco it up.
Disco it up on Mike's birthday.
And then from work, I go to get a haircut.
Me too.
Because it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. I
Does
don't know.
Brandon know you're going to someone else?
What? I'm not going somewhere else. Michael?
He did make a comment about you posting other barbershops on your page.
Did he?
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, wait, what? No.
It's funny because I got my hair cut by somebody else. And so Dan had gotten his hair cut by David, and Jake walks into practice the other day, and he walks in, he looks at Dan, he goes, "Who cut your hair?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, David cut it." Whatever. And he looks at me, "Who cut your hair?" I went to the shop down the street. He's like, "All right." He's like,
Busy, man.
"You've been busy, dog." He's
Yeah.
like, "I know, dude. I've been so busy."
Like, my life still, I still
Yeah.
got my routine.
I still got to look good, man. I'm fighting enough as is.
I'm so happy that my haircut falls in line with when I leave.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would have been like, Brandon, sneak me
Yeah.
sneak me in. But yeah. So anyway, so that's why I feel like this week I actually have things to document because I have stuff going on
Yeah.
every day. Wednesday or Thursday will be just us jamming all freaking day. So maybe I'll get some. Maybe I should try to do interviews with MBR dudes.
Good.
Hmm.
What we should do is we should clean out your computer to make it move a little faster, then you can edit on it.
What, Jesse? I know. I've been trying to clear space, but like I'm sure I don't need a lot of this stuff. Whatever this is, I don't even know what this means. What is that?
What is low disk?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is this? I have one of these things for storage.
Good.
I haven't put anything on there.
No, it has all my school shit. And I still have like a ton of space.
Yeah.
It's all my school stuff because my computer crashed all the time. I did all my papers on Google Docs because my computer crashed so much.
So it would save in the like.
And then when I finally need to, I'd print it out on my Word. I think I even deleted my Word.
Nice.
In hopes to save space. I don't know if that does anything. But.
I'll hook you up.
All right.
I'll hook you up.
So. But yeah, so that was it. Other stuff is we could talk about it another time. I don't think you started either Rings of Power
Nope.
or House of the Dragon.
I just barely watched The Hobbit.
Dude, I won't get into this, but House of the Dragon, it's on episode 7.
I was gonna start it on Sunday, but I was like, no, I gotta wait.
Why?
Still recovering from season 8. It's not. It wasn't as bad, huh? For you watching it straight through.
No, it wasn't. I thought it was gonna be even worse, but when I saw it, I was like, you know what? It's not that bad.
Yeah, because you didn't have 2 years of anticipating
Yeah.
and working together. What
Like-
prophecy should have come true?
Like when Jon Snow died, I remember it was a big deal for my brother.
Spoilers.
Oh, well, when he died, I was like, my brother made it a big deal, but I was like, oh no, next episode we saw him again.
Yeah. Remember that like, people had to wait a whole year thinking he died, and he had to go a whole year of interviews,
Yeah,
basically hiding the fact that he died.
yeah. But all in all, Game of Thrones, 100% recommend for anybody that's gonna watch it. You know.
Yeah, I've.
Ty's jumping on the train.
Is he?
Yeah, he's gonna start it.
Dude, see, I'm my stance has softened for people going for the first time because I feel like if you can binge it or like watch it all the way through in one sit down, it's the mistakes I don't think are as blaring because like I said, we've had years to like speculate on what we thought should happen, what should have happened as far as the narrative they made, the rules they made, not us as the viewer. They made these rules.
Scary Michael.
Dude, actually no, I don't want to ruin it for anyone who's trying to read anyone who's trying to watch Game of Thrones, but our talk yesterday was really funny.
Yeah, we'll save that
Save it
for another time.
But anyway,
Well, before we get out of here, if you guys are watching this episode and you live in the Pacific Northwest, come to the show tonight. If you live in
Come say
Spokane,
what's
come to the show
up.
tonight. Come say what's up. We
dude, forget that I'm in no bragging rights and using torture culture. Come say what's up to the Walkie Fly podcast.
Yeah, dude. If you guys come up to us and tell us that you're here because of the Walking Blind, I'm gonna
dude.
shit my pants.
I'll be stoked. Yeah.
I'm gonna be so excited. I've done it before. What's gonna stop me now?
I thought you were gonna say like, I'll give you a free shirt. No, free shirt with that.
I'm just gonna shit my pants.
And I have give me my first.
So we hope we see some of you guys. Once again, like, comment, subscribe at Walking Blind Pod on everything. WalkingBlindPod@gmail.com.
And if you like what we do and you want to support us, we have a page.
Yeah,
What's it called?
it's the Acast supporter page.
Yeah.
You guys can literally donate like $1.
Anything
Yeah.
helps if you believe in the cause. Anything helps.
Mike paid one of the bills, if you will, recently.
And we're not even getting the shirts in time.
Mike paid
Alright.
our merch bill to get some merch printed, and we're not gonna have it in time for the show.
It's all right.
It's all right. It's all right.
We'll do. Yeah, that's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Not like it wouldn't have matched your shoes perfectly or anything, but it's fine. That being said, we hope we see some of you guys this weekend. We will see you guys soon. We love you guys. Peace.
Peace.